Hej world, jag heter Zack the Demon Lord. Hey world, it is I, Zack the Demon Lord, and yet again another YouTube video. For today's topic, we will be talking about Swedish letters and Swedish pronunciation. Yes, that is what we'll be talking about. So, yeah, without further ado, let's just get into it. I will be referring to my Swedish textbooks with you guys, kind of glide through sort of the pronunciation tips that they say in there, and then kind of give my own interpretations, I guess you could say. Swedish has very interesting pronunciation, forewarning. So the first book I'll be looking at and kind of sharing what it says is From Swedish to English, number 1, by Bengt and Carl Helgren. So yeah, it looks like this. You can get it on Amazon, I believe is where I got my copy, for a little bit more than $10, but yeah. Let me find their pronunciation area, and yeah, we'll just kind of read through. Okay, pronunciation. I guess we'll just kind of read through what it says, and you can kind of make what you want of it, but yeah. The Swedish alphabet is the same as the English alphabet, with the following exceptions. W is often not regarded as a separate character and therefore included under V in dictionaries. 3 extra vowels, O, E, and U, appear at the end of the alphabet. Both English and Swedish are conservative with respect to spelling. Therefore, the spelling of a word does not always correspond to present-day pronunciations, but rather to what Swedish sounded like several hundred years ago. In this book, we have decided not to describe pronunciation by means of the phonetic alphabet. According to our experience, this is of little help for many students. Instead, we recommend that you not only see but also hear the words when learning vocabulary. The best way to get your pronunciation correct from the beginning is to find a Swedish teacher or a Swedish friend to help you. In the following pages, we briefly describe the pronunciation of the Swedish vowels and of some specific consonant and consonant combinations. So yes, that opening, I think it says a lot of important things. The spelling in Swedish is kind of crazy. As I said, it's kind of like with the English language where spelling doesn't always make sense. In this case, it's more so with the consonants rather than English where it's just vowels in weird places. But yeah. And I also think it's important that it's important to get, with any language, no matter what the sounds of the language is, it's important to have a friend or a teacher that can show you those sounds. As for me, I don't have that, so my best hearing device is Duolingo. As you can guess, Swedish is not exactly, it's not very easy to find a Swedish person, so yeah, I'm working on trying to make some Swedish friends, but yes, yeah. Without further ado, we'll get into it. So, it says hard rear vowels. So, yeah. So, the letter A, and then it says for short open, similar to the O in English sun, but more open. And then for long close, like the A in English car. So, maybe kind of an O and an ah noise. That is possible. I just typically pronounce it ah, but yeah. And then the letter O, short open, like the O in British English clock. So like clock, clock. Short close, like the U in English, or no, O in English toll, but short. Toll. Okay. So we got an O and an U. Long open, like the O in English more, so kind of an O noise. long close like the in English tool or tool. Tool. Kind of think I say that both ways, but yeah. So we gonna have an O, an U or and an O. I just typically pronounce an O in Swedish. Yeah, I mean when I hear with the A I hear ah, with the O I hear O, so that's just how I pronounce it. Of course, I don't have a Swedish friend, so not a lot of way to test it out. Anyways, the letter U, short open, similar to the U in English bus, but with protruding lips. So like O maybe. Long closed, similar to the U in English screw, but with protruding lips and the tip of the tongue touching the lower teeth. Ooh, ooh. So we got an O and an U. I just typically pronounce the U, oo. Let's see. And then we had that special letter, the O. That is like the A with the circle. I'll just kind of put it on the screen, but yeah. So yeah, it says short like the O in British English clock, and then like the O in English more. What I've noticed is there's a lot of cases where it's just going to be O, but in other situations it's kind of like O. Start with an O noise and end with an A noise. O. At least that's what I have noticed. Of course, it could be wrong, but that's a thing I've noticed. Okay, soft front vowels. The letter E. Short, like the E in English pen. Long, like the E in English cafe. So this I can say is, it's typically eh. And there have been some cases, not exactly cafe, sort of a, but I have noticed it like a sometimes. Like with certain words, there's kind of an sort of noise. I could be wrong, but don't quote me, but because I don't have actual Swedish people that I talk with. Let's see. The letter I, short, like the I in English finger. Long, like the I in English kilo. I've noticed there's more of an E noise, personally, so I pronounce it E. Y, so yeah, the letter Y is unique. Short like the U in French un, no English equivalent. Long like the U in French uru, no English equivalent. I don't know about this French equivalent thing, but yes, this is an interesting noise. Essentially, what I've learned with this sort of noise is that you're going to want to put your mouth in the U position, U, but pronounce E, so U. For example, Yggdrasil, right? The tree Yggdrasil. So U. At least that's what I have noticed. I could be wrong, but yeah. Anyways, next letter, E. Short like the E in English egg, long like the I, AI in English air. Yeah, I think it's somewhere in between that, the and the A noise. I just kind of just pronounce it more like eh. But yeah, and if you've learned German, you know this letter. But yeah, it's the A with the umlaut, the two dots, right? I've noticed sometimes in some words though it's not exactly that. Sometimes in some words it sounds like an ah, which is kind of unique. At least that's how it sounds to me. For example, when I listen to my favorite band in general, but also favorite Swedish band, in some of their songs, they'll have certain words that have this letter in it, and it gets pronounced kind of like an ah, and when they pronounce it, and then as well, there are some cases where when I listen on Duolingo, it sounds more like an ah. Like for example, the word for R is ar, but it's spelled more like er, but it looks like but pronunciation wise, what I hear is ar. So yeah, that's one thing to take in mind with this letter that's kind of weird. Okay, next up the I, Short open like the U in English fur but short. Long open like the U in English fur but with the tip of the tongue just behind the lower teeth. So like u, u. Long closed like the U in English fur but with the protruding lips and the tip of the tongue touching the lower teeth. U, u. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Anyway, I just kind of pronounce it more like It's kind of like in between an and an but yeah, I mean, if you learn German, then, or know anything of German, they have the same letter with the same pronunciation, so that should help you. I've noticed sometimes, at least with Duolingo, don't quote me, but sometimes I have heard it sound more like an O. So just to keep that in mind, sometimes it sounds like an O rather than an noise. But yeah, consonants. The letter C. C's pretty easy. Like in English, K in front of a consonant or hard vowel, so k, k. And what they consider, and I mean, it's in the beginning, so they have the hard vowels and soft vowels. So the hard vowels are the A, O, U, and the O. And then the soft ones would be the E, I, Y, E, and Ö. So yeah. Sounds like a K with the hard vowels, and then like in English, S in front of soft vowels. So yeah. For the hard ones, it's going to be K, and for the soft ones, it's going to be S, like an S. D, similar to an English D, but with the tip of the tongue touching the upper teeth. I mean, I just kind of pronounce it as a D. But yeah, maybe my way of pronouncing it as a D is wrong, but I just pronounce it as a D. So next, the letter G. Like the G in English, go in front of a consonant, or a hard vowel. So yeah, like the Y in English, yes, in front of a soft vowel and at the end of a word. So yeah, it's gonna sound like a G with consonants and hard vowels, and like a Y with everything else. I will say, with the soft vowels and at the end of a word. I will say though, I have noticed sometimes this rule kind of being broken. For example, there's a word or in a set of lyrics in a Vild Hjarta song that I like a lot. I don't know the name of the song off the top of my head, I'd have to look. But there's this word that by this sort of rule would be pronounced sargade, but they pronounce it saryade. So I think there could be maybe some times where this rule isn't 100%. Okay, J, like the Y in English, yes. If you learn German, this will not come to a surprise to you. K, like in English, K in front of consonant or hard vowel and inside words, so like in the middle, I think is what that's saying. And like the CH in English, China, but without the initial T sound at the beginning of a word in front of a soft vowel. So what that's exactly trying to say, I don't know, but what I've come to learn is that it's kind of like a sh sort of noise. So I have some example. For example, chemistry would be, looks like chemi, but might be chemi. And then a kilo looks like et kilo, but it'll be et shilo. A church looks like en kyrka, but it's actually en kyrka, but it's actually en kyrka. But yeah, so that's at least what I've noticed. It's more of a sh noise. At least that's how I pronounce it. Anyways, next letter. L, like in English L, but with the tongue flat and the tip of it almost touching the upper teeth. I just pronounce it like an L. R, like a Scottish R, Scottish English R, i.e. with the tip of the tongue vibrating, just a hard R. Like, if you watch Vikings, Ragnar Lothbrok, or something like that, that sort of hard R noise. T, like an English T, but with the tongue flat and the tip of it touching the upper teeth. What that means, I don't know. I just pronounce it like a T. I just make sure to pronounce it. Z, like an English S, i.e. without activating the vocal cords, whatever that means. So, for example, jazz, as examples, that'll be like yas, or zombie would be en zombie, or a zoo would be etso. So yeah, as Z is pronounced more like an S. But yeah, I mean, if you have English words that pronounce as a Z, I don't think they'll misunderstand though. Anyways, consonant combinations. I'll just shorten what it says basically. CK makes a k noise. Who would have guessed? J, it says the J sound, like the Y in English, yes, is most often spelled with a J or a G followed by a soft vowel, but in some words it is spelled with DJ, GJ, HJ, or LJ, where the first letter is not pronounced, and it has some examples. So it has the jazz example of jazz being yas, as guess, yisa, an animal, et yur, did, made, gjorde, help, hjälpa, and a light, et ljus. Anyways, and then the NG sound, like the NG in English, ring, is most often spelled with NG, but in some words with a G in front of an N, and with an N in front of a K. So, I mean, going by the rules, it has many, being många, a rain, et regn, and a bank, and their rules would be en bang, but I just say en bank. I don't know if that's wrong or not. I don't have a Swedish friend to correct me. I will say though, with their idea, so I will say NG, when that's followed by something like, for example, många, that NG, yeah, you're gonna pronounce the NG as and not ng. So it's många, not många, många. Now, for example, with the rang example, if you change that to like, for example, like if you change that to like to rain, it would not be regnar, but rather regnar, right? I think that's the word to rain, right? Anyways, but yeah, that is one thing to take in mind, is the NG will stay in ng, but the GN will change though, because it has the vowels in front. And I don't know about the NK example though. RN, RD, RS, and RT. And the four consonant combinations, those ones I mentioned, the R is not pronounced, but the following consonant is pronounced with the tip of the tongue drawn back to something. Consonant is pronounced with the tip of the tongue drawn back to the position for saying a rolling R. So basically what this is saying is you don't pronounce it as a hard R, but kind of more like the English R. So for example, an earth and jord, a bear and björn, a course and kurs, an article and artikel. So yeah, or I guess that would be artikel, technically. I don't know. Anyways, just keep that to mind, that, yeah. And one thing you may notice that it's not saying here is with the RS, the R does change, but I will say the S also changes from a S to a sh noise. Okay, the TJ sound. The TJ sound, like the CH in English China, but without the initial T sound, is spelled with a K, followed by a soft vowel, or with one of the letter combination CH, KJ, or TJ. I have noticed that these combinations do differ. So as a kilo, which would be like a kilo, as a check, which would be like probably like en check, and then it has a skirt, and Shoal, and 20, which is Chugo. I do think that the TJ makes more of a ch noise, and then the other ones make more of a sh noise. You could quote me if I'm wrong, but at least that's what I notice. But yeah. Yeah, I think that's the important things that it has there for pronunciation. And then, sorry, I just want to check the time on my camera to make sure it's still rolling. But yeah, the other one we'll be looking at is Complete Swedish Teach Yourself by Dr. Anneli Beronius Hake. So yeah, let me find their pronunciation section, and so that way we can see what they have to say. Okay. Okay, I think I found, I don't know how I want to read, sounds in Swedish, the SJ sound. The sound can be pronounced as a sh, or sh, as when telling someone to be quiet, but the majority of Swedes pronounce it much further back in their mouths. A good way to practice finding the sound is to do the following. Shape your mouth as when you say the letter O, or when you whistle or blow air through your mouth and lips. Try to first blow and then pronounce vowel afterwards. Blow, blow plus A, blow plus E, blow plus I, etc. When you have mastered this, try to blow and at the same time press the back of your tongue forwards. Try to apply this kind of blowing with the back of your tongue pressed upward and add the vowels. Whatever that means, I don't know. What I can tell you is with the SJ noises they're calling it, which also I think in the other one I mentioned like KJ and TJ and stuff like that. With the SJ specifically, and I think in a way with the other ones, yes, it's a sh noise. What I think they're trying to talk about is sort of the other sort of sound it can make, which at least from what I've noticed is going to be more like the German CH. So the noise, for example, Bach, like, you know, the musical musician Bach, or like what's another German word, like I, right? That's another German word. It's kind of like that. What I've noticed though is in some cases it's like a followed by a W noise. Let me think. I can't think of an example. Just know that sometimes like a hua, rather than a sh, and sometimes it's just more of a. Anyways, I can't think of any examples off the top of my head. I'm kind of brain dead, but yeah, we'll just follow on. Hard and soft vowels and Swedish turn vowels will dictate how to pronounce S, K, G, and K. They will be pronounced either hard or softly, depending on whether they are followed by a hard or soft vowel. This is usually applicable in the beginning of words. Hard vowels are A, O, U, and O. Soft vowels are E, I, Y, E, and Ö. Hard pronunciations, the ones to the left below, are pronounced as they are read. Okay, and then it has like this fun little chart, right? I don't know how well you can see that, but they have like a chart on this book that kind of gives you an idea of how to pronounce stuff. But yeah. Oh. Anyways, yeah, they got some pretty good examples here. Yeah, that's about it for pronunciation. I don't know what else to tell you. It's not too difficult. It's just really that the getting used to the sh words also being khu. I know that it's also a regional thing. Depending on what region you are, it will be different. But yeah, that has been Swedish pronunciation. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed it, give it a like, subscribe, and share with your friends. and family members that are interested in Swedish language or other language or stuff in that nature. But yeah, we'll see you in the next video, and until then, hello!